Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time stopping by. Today we are going to be doing I'm playing with fancy tricks because I'm being show-offy because I want to talk about this deck. But anyways, today we're going to be doing a show and tell of all the decks in my fantasy category for my deck collection. And there's quite a few. So this is a long one. Settle in, grab a tea, do whatever you got to do, grab a coffee, grab a snack, grab a cozy blanket, put on your jammies, turn in for the night, like whatever you need to do to get cozy for this video, do it, because we're going to be here for a minute. I have a lot in this category. But before we get into all of that, just a heads up that my Kickstarter campaign for Unicorn's Journey Oracle has either already launched, in which case, yay, me, I'm on time with my internal schedule I have for myself, or it is coming up. So keep an eye out on Kickstarter. I'll throw a graphic on the screen so you can see what that campaign sort of looks like. You can click the link in the description box down below to head to the campaign and learn all about it. But if you didn't already know, I am an author and a deck creator in addition to a YouTube content creator, and this is the newest thing in my repertoire. I'll throw a graphic on the screen so you can see the previous projects I have put out into the world and where you can find them. But just so you know, because this is the Unicorn's Journey Oracle deck, the Unicorn's Journey Tarot deck and the Oracle deck are both available in my Kickstarter campaign, particularly if you're interested in them as a set. Now, this very rough test copy I'm holding right now was the first test copy I printed. I've done 2 test copies. I've also ordered prototypes, some of which have some changes made. So there's some tiny little updates that I've made here and there, a tweak to a word here or a little shifting of my banner, that kind of a thing. But if we meet or have met all of our stretch goals, then this deck will have colored card edges that are going to be really beautiful and a gold foil sun on the back, but this is a test print with a painted sun, so you can see the difference. But that is Unicorn's Journey Oracle, and I'm so excited. So yes, keep your eyes peeled for this to come out. Obviously, this very much exists in the fantasy realm. However, I categorize my Unicorn's Journey Tarot and Oracle, as well as the Sassy Dragons, into the empowering deck category. So if you want to hear more about these, you can check out that video in my collection series or the whole playlist, which will be linked down below for your viewing pleasure, because I know we all love, well, I shouldn't say we all love, but I know I love a good deck collection video. So that's what we're here to do. Fantasy decks, just so you know, the goal for me with this series is to show everything that's currently in my collection in these various categories, but also to keep an eye out for things that may not be working for me anymore or that I might be ready to move on. So there will be some mild decluttering decisions happening. Anything I'm thinking I might want to move on is going into a separate category called chopping block, and I will do a video at the end of this series going through all the chopping block decks and making final decisions. Well, semi-final decisions, because when I decide to declutter a deck, it goes into purgatory for ages. By ages, I mean literally many months, usually, before I eventually will let it go or check and see if I miss it and pull it back in. So that's sort of my process. So nothing's like getting new homes right away or anything. Just sorry to dash your hopes right away, but that is the case. So let's get into it. We've got a ton of Oracle and Tarot. So in no particular order, I'm just going to grab the first thing from my pile, and that is this one. This is the Smoke, Ash, and Embers deck by 3 Trees Tarot, and I love this. There is a newer edition with a different back. I just haven't moved that edition into this bag yet, but it is happening. It's going to happen. But I love this deck. It is the sweetest, but also wisest dragon deck, and it ticks so many boxes. When I think dragon energy, this is it, because it is both playful, but also kind, and wise, but also strong and ferocious and bold. And if you don't already know, I very much identify my wife with the dragon. She identifies with the dragon. I'm very much a unicorn girly, and she's very much a dragon girly. But this deck feels like her energy to me in so many ways, because it has both that strength, but also the softness. And it's there's so much personality in the dragons in this deck. It's just been brilliantly executed, and I love everything about it. There are teeny dragons and big dragons. There are fire dragons and water dragons and air dragons and earth dragons, and I just love them all so much. How can you not? How can you not love them? Look at them. I should be holding the cards higher so you can actually see them all pretty well. But anyway, love Smoke, Ash, and Ember. It's very, very safe in my collection. I mean, every 3 Trees Tarot deck that I've ever had has been very safe in my collection, and this is no exception. So that is the Smoke, Ash, and Embers. It's in this really cute blue dragon bag, which I love, which my wifey also made. Since we're on the topic of dragons and unicorns and such, let me get into this. This is one that I'm not sure I'll be keeping, but because it was like a seasonal experience. I used it for a bit and then I haven't really used it since. This is actually a duo of decks, both by Paolo Barbieri, and I do think they're pretty cool. Let me show you the premise of these. So this is the Star Dragons Oracle, and then this is the Paolo Barbieri Unicorns deck. And so my thinking with this was to pull a card, one for Peggy, one for me. That's kind of the vibe of this. And I did that for a period of time, and it was really fun. Now, something to point out is that the dragon deck is very much on the nose, just dragons, right? Obviously, Paolo Barbieri dragons, so it's incredible, and the artwork is really great, and there's good, like, keywords on the cards and such. Very classic fantasy art vibes, for sure. But the unicorn deck is like unicorns camouflaged as other things. So here we have like not a tiger. It's not a tiger. It's a unicorn, but it looks like a tiger. Here we have not a planet, and the unicorn is in the planet. Here we have not a butterfly, and we have a unicorn anthropomorphic person here instead of a butterfly, not a horse. Now, when I first got this, one thing that really charmed me about this, I didn't think I would like it because I'm very picky about unicorn decks, and it's true. I am. Here we have not a demon, and it's a unicorn. However, here's the thing. What I loved about this, okay, let me back up. What I loved about this is that it showed me where unicorn energy was showing up in other ways and places. It kind of inspired me to look for that energy in the unexpected. Here we have it in a cloud. But I didn't end up enjoying working with the guidebooks quite as much as I'd hoped as far as like reading for Peggy and I. Like this doesn't fully feel like Peggy and this one doesn't fully feel like me. And so while the themes worked and I loved the cohesion of having a dragon and a unicorn deck by the same creator to put together, it just didn't end up scratching that itch. And then these came into my life before my Unicorn's Journey Tarot was created and before Sassy Dragons Tarot, which is my Peggy deck, was created. Like, so now I actually have decks I've created, one that feels like me and one that feels like Peggy. And so I don't actually need, I just realized as I said that, I don't actually need this because I have my dream combo of decks that are actually created with our energy and with our spirit in them. And this is something other than that. And so I don't really need these anymore, but they are very, very cool. And it was fun to pair them together. I did try shuffling them together, which was one experience that I didn't end up ultimately liking, but was fun to play with. And then I would pull them in separately and do that. So it'd be like card for her, card for me, kind of as a check-in. And I really did enjoy that. But yeah, the time for these has definitely passed. So these are going on the chopping block. I don't think they will survive that process, but I guess we'll see. I'm going to put them back in their bag together and we'll put that into the chopping block category up here. Okay, let me grab another, they're pretty even, but I'm going to grab another tarot. This is a special one. So this is the Shadowscapes Tarot by Stephanie Pumin-Law. And this is actually, the main version that you could find of this is by Llewellyn. And this is actually a different edition that I was able to track down. It's the Czech edition. And it had borders on it, but I trimmed the borders off and then I edged it in silver, and then I used a silver Sharpie also to write the number and the elemental suit, or like the letter P for page, or the Roman numeral if it's a major, on these cards so that they are borderless. It's a thicker cardstock than Llewellyn on this edition, but the main reason I did that is because the cards are bigger. So after trimming them, you can see they are almost exactly tarot size. They're just a tiny bit shorter. But the Llewellyn cards were a little bit smaller, plus they had a border, and this artwork is very, very detailed. And so I really wanted something that would let me sink into the artwork a bit better, and I love this edition. It's such a joy to read with. It's really beautiful. I will say Shadowscapes is one of those decks that I think if on its face, like it's absolutely gorgeous, but on its face, it wouldn't have been a deck that I think would have stayed with my collection permanently. However, it has a little extra something special with it because the first copy of this deck that I had, which was the Llewellyn edition, was actually gifted to me by my children. There's like some Sharpie that made it onto this card, like right here, and I should clean that up. I'm going to do that actually right now. One of the things I love about writing with Sharpie on cards that are really glossy like this is that usually you can take the Sharpie off if you ever decide. So what I have is a little bit of isopropyl alcohol on a little cloth pad, and I'm just going to wipe. And then I'm going to dry really carefully because I don't want to actually mess up the Roman numerals that are also on this same card. And I don't keep the rubbing alcohol on there for very long, just long enough to get it off. And now there's no more, there was like I don't know if you saw it on camera, but there was some Sharpie right there, and now it's completely gone. And I also liked using the silver Sharpie for the letters or the numbers on the bottom rather, because they're very subtle, but they show up really well for me in the light. But yeah, anyways, what I like about using Sharpie for writing on cards is as long as they're glossy, you can usually get the Sharpie off pretty easily with rubbing alcohol. Before I knew the alcohol trick, I did sometimes use nail polish remover, which I don't recommend necessarily because it can really eat away at the finish on your cards if you're not super careful and quick with it, but it does work in a pinch. I have, though, sometimes used this trick, and you have to be careful because if you have any other like edging on the deck, like or foiling on the deck, this will strip the foiling off your deck. So just be aware of that. Don't do that on foiled decks. I've made that mistake. Anyway, back to this deck. Love how beautiful it is, but yeah, it was a Mother's Day gift. The first version of this, I did replace that version with this version. So like, it's not the physical object, it's the fact that it was gifted to me by my kids. So it will always be sort of associated with one of those first early Mother's Days and how that felt. And yeah, so it's kind of got that along with it as well, but it is objectively quite beautiful and it's fun to read with. I'm trying to remember if we did a deck study with this deck in the membership. Members, tune in down below. Did we ever do a deck study with this? Because this, I think we did. I feel like we did, but maybe we didn't. Maybe I'm making that up. But it would be a really nice one to do a deck study with if we haven't yet. But my memory is terrible. I can't remember if we did it already. But anyway, this is really beautiful. And then along with this, I'm just going to leave this out for a second. I also do have the newest deck by this creator. Now, I believe Stephanie Puman Law is working on another tarot at the moment. But I also have the Tree Keepers Tarot, which is, or Tree Keepers Oracle, which is her Oracle deck. And it is just as beautiful with her artwork. It's really gorgeous. So of course, these two are a permanent pair in my collection right now. And I do love really, truly working with them together. Keeper of Anger, Keeper of Grace. And because they're keepers of, you know what the theme of the card is, which is amazing. Here's a Keeper of the Subconscious paired with the Queen of Water. How cool is that? Keeper of Flow. So it's really easy to work with this deck without the guidebook, although the guidebook is nice. Keeper of Fairy Tales, Keeper of Alchemy, oof. Keeper of Sleep with the Four of Cups. Look at that. Rest is needed. Keeper of Stars. So yeah, it's really, this is really beautiful. And there are a lot of like tree spirit energy associated with this, but what I really love is just how beautifully this pairs with Shadowscapes, because I never quite found a pairing for Shadowscapes that really worked. And I find that I reach for my decks more when they have an Oracle buddy. It's just kind of how I function. So yeah, really love Shadowscapes and the Tree Keepers. And these tend to live together hanging on my rack. So yeah, those are safe. Okay, let's talk about another fantasy deck. This is the Mythical Creatures Tarot. This is out of print and it is a Marseille style deck. It is gorgeous, and I'm trying to remember, I do think I have a bigger guidebook for this. I don't really reach for that bigger guidebook very much, but I do have it. This is just an absolutely beautiful Pip or Marseille style deck, but the majors have just, and the courts, and even just the pips, like they have so much going on. They're so ornate. There's cold foil stamping on this. I don't know that the light will pick it up very well, but it's that more minimal style cold foil stamping. Papez Studios has done this really intense cold foil stamping too, where it's quite flat, and there's like, I don't know if flat's fair, but there's a lot of it and it can be kind of distracting. This is just subtle. You just get little hints of it as you move the cards around, and it just provides this beautiful metallic effect without being like too much. And I love that about this one. The other Papez Studios deck that had this more delicate cold foiling was the Alice Tarot, and I prefer that style. But anyways, this is beautiful. Like, look at this star card. It's breathtaking. It's also perfect. It's like perfectly executed, in my opinion. And I have strong opinions about unicorns. But anyway, this is a gorgeous deck. Obviously for the moon, we have the werewolf. We have these mythical creatures that are associated with every major arcana, and then through the suits. So we have mermaids through the cups. We have these like dragons through the wands. We have little fae creatures. I think they're little fairies. Kind of fairy idea through the swords. Fairies and angelic type creatures, I guess you could say. And then, yeah, there's the cups. We have more mer creatures. Pentacles. Oh, maybe pentacles are fae. I can't remember now, but you can kind of see it, right? And then in the majors, like I said, you have really classic mythical associations. And the courts too, obviously. But yeah, there's the coin. Yeah, these feel more fae-like. The tower is the kraken. I could just look at this all day. It's just really pretty. I don't reach for it a ton, but it is lovely. This might be one to do a tarot test drive with, because I'd love to pull this out more than I do. It's gorgeous. This is one that I vied for a long time. The Mythical Creatures first came out in a, I think it was like a sepia toned black and white. And while I loved it, I didn't want the black and white version at all. And then actually I'm going to pull the little, no, I'm going to keep the guidebook on the bottom because it separates that card. Absolutely loved this deck, but I knew that I wouldn't work with it unless it was color. And when they announced they were working on color, I followed and followed and followed it. In fact, this was the only Baba Studios deck I thought I would ever buy when it came out, and I knew it was going to take a long time, and I was following its process. And then I decided to buy a copy of the Bohemian Gothic, mostly so I could make sure I actually liked the cardstock, because I'd heard it was really different from what was out in the market at the time. And it was black core cardstock, and it's quite nice, but it is a thinner black core. At least I think it's black core. Hold on. Wait, this isn't black core. Okay, well, I take it back. This is not black core. I just did the lighting check, and I can see the backing. I can see the design of the back with the light. You can see the pattern coming through. So this is not black core. I'm not sure what this cardstock is. It is quite nice. I do enjoy it. I enjoy the shuffle of it. But anyways, I bought the Bohemian Gothic so I could test to make sure I liked the cardstock. And then I ended up liking the Bohemian Gothic, and then later I got the Alice Tarot, etc. But all of that was because I was wanting to buy this when it came out, and I wanted to make sure I was going to like it. So I tried a different one in the meantime. But this took a long time, and when it finally came out, it was well worth the wait. I thought it was just beautifully done. It's gorgeous. Big fan. I like it. So, Mythical Creatures Tarot. Another tarot in this category is the Mystic Pallet Tarot. This is classic fantasy art to me. Ciro Marchetti's work. This is the full color indie edition. I did have both the full color and sepia toned mass markets. I let those go because I got this, and this is signed by Ciro. And so I knew I would want this as a collectible. See, he signed the box for me. Even though I haven't had a chance to really work with this much, and I don't even know if I will. I think it's really beautiful. So the indie version, it has like these kind of bronze colored edges. Am I upside down? That card is upside down. That's very strange for me. Anyway, this one is right side up. Yeah, okay. Anyways, I really do enjoy Ciro's art style, but I never think to work with it very much. But it's nostalgic for me because my first, what I will call my first real tarot that wasn't like the Osho Zen, was the Legacy of the Divine Tarot. I haven't decided if this is a deck that I will like literally pull into my practice, or if it will remain just something that I got to be a collectible. I don't have any other independent deck by Ciro, and Ciro tends to create his decks independently and then later release them for mass market. He doesn't do that for every single one, I don't think, but this is one. I wanted to have one indie one directly from him. So this is my one. I do really love the artwork. This is one of his more recent decks, and I really appreciate what he's done here. I think it's gorgeous. There's always something that feels very sort of, this is definitely very classic fantasy art, but also there's something about this deck that always feels much more masculine, or much more, maybe what I see in this deck isn't that it's more masculine, but that it's much more balanced. And so I will often think of Ciro decks when I want to read for somebody who has that more masculine energy, because I feel like they're going to see a lot more representation, a lot more presence in this deck. And I mean, like all types, like look at the age. I mean, Ciro's art is just something spectacular. It's really good. So yeah, I really appreciate his work. I really appreciate this deck. This one has a little bit of that unfortunate gilding wrap that can make a deck clump when you shuffle it. Yeah, I feel it there. It's clumping. And it's also gives it a bit of a shape. It helps, how do I describe this? Sometimes a certain type of foil can kind of help the deck, or can cause the deck to sort of hold a bow, even though the cardstock might not have done that on its own. And so between a little bit of that like wrap from the foil and the way that it holds a bit of a bow, it's not the most aesthetically enjoyable deck for me to work with. It just doesn't feel that great. And I will say the mass market versions, the cardstock was very floppy and kind of squishy feeling. So I didn't love the aesthetic or the tactile experience of the mass market one either, to be fair. So because of that, I'm not sure how much I would work with this. Also, I did have some issues with this one. I think I just saw an example of it actually, where the gloss caused the cards to stick, and then they kind of left little bits of damage on the other cards. Like here's one where that little white fleck is because these were like stuck together, and in the unsticking, they sort of peeled a little bit. I don't have too much of that, but there's a little bit on the fronts and occasionally on the backs of the cards that I did find when I was initially looking at this. I was very careful to separate them. Like I really gave it a good crack and made sure to kind of loosen that gloss, but it is still a thing that happened, which is unfortunate, but mostly it's fine. And yeah, so I feel like this is one of those decks that falls into this kind of collectible category for me. I got it more to have an indie version, like like literally as a collectible, than I did to work with, but I may still work with it. But for now, I think this is going to still remain being a deck that is more of a collectible for me and not in sort of active rotation. Next up, we have The Good Fortune Tarot by Barbara Moore, and this is illustrated, oh, I forget her name all of a sudden. I'm so sorry. I'm going to kick myself later when I'm editing, but that's okay. Anyway, this is a really fun deck. We did do a deck study with this, and actually Barbara Moore came on for a cozy creator chat with my members, and I did end up releasing that live stream replay out to the public, so you can find it on the channel. It was such a lovely chat, and Barbara gave us so many fun behind the scenes bits of information about the creation of this deck. It's a really good one, and I do genuinely like it. It's got a bit of that Rider-Waite-Smith alignment, but it has some really clever call outs and symbols and little Easter eggs that are so fun to unpack in this deck when you really get into it. There is layers of Marseille in this as well as layers of the RWS, and that makes it like even just like, let's go back because I kind of went by it pretty quick. But look at how the Three of Swords typical, this owl has pulled out one of these swords, and owl as a representation of wisdom was a very intentional choice here. So there's the wisdom gained, and then the cracks, the wound in the heart that from the sword that's been pulled out have been filled out in with gold, like Japanese kintsugi, I think it's called. It's incredible. It's incredible. So there's a lot of things like that in this deck. The guidebook is brilliant. It's really, really interesting. And I just really appreciate this deck's existence in the world. I love this Two of Cups. It's so lovely. There's a lot of really wonderful variety of people types in this deck as well, which I appreciate. And overall, I just really, really loved it. The study was such a joy to do. It was great. It was really great. Fabulous. Really good deck, The Good Fortune Tarot. I put it in the fantasy category mostly because I wasn't quite sure where it goes. It feels a little more grounded than your stereotypical fantasy art, but it does also have this kind of dreamy quality to it. So yeah, I don't 100% know where I would place this, but it's really lovely. And it's probably my current, dare I say it's my favorite Barbara Moore deck? I think it might be. I think this might be my favorite Barbara Moore deck ever. Let's take a look at another oracle. This is one that I keep, but I don't often use. I used it a lot when I first had it, and this is my second version of it, but this is the Oracle of the Unicorns. This is one of those decks that's actually a curated art deck, but it's curated with classic fantasy unicorn depictions. Lots of different artists are represented here. It's really beautiful, but what I really remember when I first bought this, the first edition of this is a Blue Angel deck. It was glossy, and I remember picking it up and flipping through the unicorn imagery, thinking it was almost like having photographs. There was something really special about the gloss. However, I'm a sucker for Blue Angel's matte laminated cardstock, so when they came out with this in their matte coating, I picked it up and swapped it out, and it is really, really gorgeous this way as well. But it's just one of those unicorn decks that I just genuinely love. It just makes me happy to have it. I adore the artwork. I adore the little messages on the cards. This would also actually make a really good bedtime deck. I might put it in my little bedtime deck basket because I think I would use it more over there. I really love it so much. It just makes me feel things when I look at it, like it really does. It just makes me happy. This is like all the unicorn art of my childhood dreams. Like it's everything. And it's not cohesive because it's got that collaborative element of like being curated art. I had a phone vinyl that was this artwork for a long time. It's really, really gorgeous and I love it so much. So that is the Oracle of Unicorns. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put that in my bedtime basket and let it be over there because I think I will reach for it a little bit more. I don't really pair it with anything, so it can live in my bedtime decks collection. This is the, oh my gosh, am I gonna remember what it's called? Let me look at the book. Crystal Visions. I had a copy of this deck previously that somebody else had trimmed and edged until it was borderless, and the edges were like this really hot pink, and it was gorgeous. The edging was beautiful, but it just kept bleeding on my hands and on the inside of the box and such. And I eventually let that, I did get it to stop bleeding, I think, and I eventually let that copy go. But I recently repurchased it, and I'm so glad I did. I've had so much fun reading with this deck. Again, it's got classic sort of 90s fantasy art vibes. I love the tones. I love the choices in the cards. I love all the lotus flowers through the cups. I love the way that you can always tell what suit you're looking at. It definitely is immersive. It's definitely immersive. I kind of hate these curved unicorn horns, but I do love that there's unicorns throughout like this deck and little fairy creatures and little dragons. It's beautiful. It's a lot of fun. Classic fantasy deck. When I think fantasy deck, this is one of the first ones that come to mind. It's great. I love it. Such a sweet one. So that is the Crystal Visions Tarot by Jennifer Galasso. Now I believe she has a Etsy shop where you can get a more expanded guidebook for the deck. I don't really feel called to do that right now. I kind of enjoy it on its face, but it's a sweetie. I love it. This is the Earth Wisdom Oracle. I never really reached for this, but I have this paired with something. I can't remember. Oh, I have this paired with the Witch's Garden Tarot, I believe, which is not in this category, I don't think. But let's take a look at this. This was a Don Michelle Made Me Get It deck. It is really beautiful. And it is by Barbara Moore with artwork by Christina Scagliotti. It's a low scarabeo, so it's like doesn't have a ton of cards, but they're all really gorgeous. Grace, awareness, divine protection, inspiration. It's got a bit of Celtic feel, a bit of storybook feel. It is really pretty. And again, it looks really gorgeous with, I want to say, is it the Tarot of the Witch's Garden, or is it, there's another one. I'm trying to remember what I have it paired with. Anyway, it's beautiful. I do love it. Oh, it gives so many feels. I'm going to have to go grab the deck that it's perma paired with so I can remind myself. Look at this Stonehenge with Divine Light. It's really pretty. Okay, let me just grab the deck it's paired with. Okay, just a brief mention because this deck, the deck it's paired with isn't actually in this category, but I have it paired with the Tarot of Enchanted Forest, which it does work really well with. But maybe there isn't a but. No, I feel like these do pair pretty well together. Yeah, they pair pretty well together. Okay. I haven't reached for this pair in a long time. So yeah, I don't know. I have feels, I guess. But I'm just like thinking, do I want to put this on the chopping block? And I don't think I do. I think it does pair really, really beautifully with the Enchanted Forest. So, ooh, but actually, hold on. Do I need to see this next to anything else? Like, okay, I've got Tarot of a Witch's Garden here. Let me pull that out because I think it might pair better with Tarot of a Witch's Garden. Let me grab that. So here's the Tarot of the Witch's Garden. Ooh, okay. Oh, I like these a lot together already. Okay, so yeah, this is a better pairing for me, for sure. These feel like they belong to the same world. Yes. Yes. Okay, that makes me really happy. So I'm going to shift the pairing here to this one because I really love the Tarot of the Enchanted Garden. And this feels like that to me. So these are going to get paired and we'll figure out Enchanted Forest another time because that's in a different deck category. But I really like these together and I really like, yeah, that makes me happy. So these two are going to be paired going forward. Hooray, perfect pairing. Let's talk about this one, the 78 Tarot Mythical. So this is the only 78 Tarot that I've ever kept. It's the first one I ever bought and my copy is signed by the creators, which is cool. I don't use this. I'm going to be so for real. I don't use it. It's very, very cool. I love the guidebook. I love that it has information about every story and every myth in the guidebook. That's really fun. But it's a collab deck and I kept it because it was cool. That's basically it. I keep it because it's enjoyable to flip through the art and it's cool to see 78 different pieces of art associated with the tarot. These cards are big. It's a beautiful deck. I love Joanna Nelson's work. It's a beautiful deck. It's a great way to see a whole lot of different art styles and a whole lot of different fantasy artists all together. But for me, this will remain, I believe, I'm not a big fan of this Knight of Swords, but most of these I really do enjoy. It's just that they're very disjointed feeling because it's a collab deck. And so for that reason, this is a deck that I keep as a collector's item for me. And that is it. It's something that I've collected, but not that I use or work with. And I know that about that. This lives on a shelf that is reserved for decks that I just keep, but that I have no intention of using. And I'm all right with that. I don't see the need to let it go completely. It's kind of neat to have a little piece of a deck that is 78 different artists. I think that's really fun, but I don't find it very practical for me personally. So this is a storage deck, not a use it deck. So it's a collectible for me and I'm good with that. Let's talk about another dragon deck. I might be ready to let this one go. It is really cool though. It's very classic dragons. This is the Tarot of Dragons. I forget the creator's name. It's a Llewellyn deck. Love the bold colors. It's very classic fantasy dragons. And again, for a long time, this felt like a Peggy deck in my collection. But now that I have a literal Peggy deck in my collection, I don't feel like I need this. And when I pit this up against the other dragon deck, my Smoke, Ash, and Embers, this one, while it is exactly the way I typically see dragon energy. It just doesn't grab me. I don't think to want to reach for it. When I want a Peggy deck specifically, I tend to reach for Sassy Dragons, and there's not something on its own that grips me enough to want to keep this, I think, outside of the fact that it was fun to use for readings when I was reading about or for Peggy. But I have Smoke, Ash, and Embers for that. So I think this one is going to go on the chopping block, but man, it's beautiful. And again, if you like this style of dragon, I think this is my favorite deck that has that very colorful classic fantasy art vibe with this style of dragon. I think it's beautifully done. I think the cards make a ton of sense. I don't have a hard time like reading with the deck. It's very, very easy to work with, and it's very cool, but I just don't need it in my collection anymore. So I think this is chopping block time. And another Llewellyn deck that I think I might be finally ready to let go of is the Wizards Tarot. Look at, I edged mine in multicolors. This is another Barbara Moore deck. And so I think I cling to it, or have clung to it, because it's a Barbara Moore deck and I just love her decks. It's got a Wizard Academy kind of vibe, but some of the cards, especially this one, they throw me off from what I want to see in the card. Just enough that like when I'm using it, it kind of just stops me. The other thing is that this is an example of it. There's a little bit of this element of almost photorealism to some of the people in the deck. And then it almost gives off this like weird photo collage vibe to me, but then this one's not like that. But occasionally they are like that, and it just trips me up. When it comes to like this style of a deck, I think I prefer the Crystal Visions over this for taking me into like 90s fantasy land. I'm not really drawn to this like sort of like fantasy academia kind of vibe necessarily. It's fun. It's like wizard school, which is cool, but like it's just not really speaking my speak. There's a lot of really cool, this always makes me think of the movie Lucifer. Makes me happy, but anyway, or the TV show Lucifer. There's actually a lot of little fantasy references to different pop culture things, but I'm not good at like knowing pop culture things, so that doesn't do a lot for me personally, but it's a neat Easter egg about this deck if you're curious. There's some information I believe in the back of the book, of the guidebook for this, that gets into that in more detail, but I do think I need to put this on the chopping block finally. I really do think I need to do that, but oh, it's a good deck. It's just one that I don't ever really keep thinking of or reaching for. Okay, let's talk about the Citadel and the deck of emblems. So the Citadel Tarot or Oracle is here, and the deck of emblems is here. Now, Liminal and 11, I don't know what the story is with them. I think there are no more, but I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. It's just a hunch. So allegedly and all, I don't really know. But this little deck of emblems came in a special edition. So the story with Citadel is that there was a different deck. I think it was, what was it called? I forget. But it was by Fez Inkwright. And then this was like, there was a smaller version of this that was like a little bonus deck that came in the special edition. And there was such a clamor for more of this that they eventually did their own version of this deck, like a full expanded version of Citadel Oracle with lots of cards, which is just great. And then a little companion special edition exclusive deck, the deck of emblems. It's just something that they do or did in their special editions. But regardless, I love both of these. The Citadel is very unique. There is a gaming element to it. I gave away the big book that came with this and the box and stuff to my son because he does a lot of RPG stuff. And there's like a whole little standalone RPG you can play with this deck, I believe, or there's ways to incorporate it into other role-playing games, but tabletop role-playing games. What I love about this is it's got a very cool vibe, number one, which I think is great. But I love these like archetypes, like the puppeteer, but then you also get keywords. So you know like what's happening. Like here you have the waker and it's awareness and reflection. It's got this gorgeous like copper colored gilding or foiling all over it. The tailor, like it is so pretty. And I love that kind of role-playing game style feel. This pairs really, really well with the Fyodor Pavlov tarot. It's really fun next to the Fyodor Pavlov tarot, so that's awesome. But this is a very unique deck. I love working with the guidebook, and it's a lot of fun. So I really enjoy the Citadel, and the book does have, this little guidebook does also have, I believe, some role-playing game information. I could be wrong. Let me just check the little contents. Gaming with the Citadel. Yeah, there's a section in the back that gets into that. Yeah, building a location, first draw. It talks about all that in the back. So you can still get into that with the included guidebook. I don't know if you can still get this. I think you can as like a mass market standalone deck. I think you can still get it. Don't quote me on that. Oh, this one is this one. But it's a really fun Oracle deck, and it's very unique. So I love having that in my collection. And then the deck of emblems, this is so fun because this is like item based. And what's more fun than the fact that this is item based. So we have like torch, but then we still have keywords. So it ticks all my boxes. I love that. The shape's a little funky, by the way. These like sort of like, what are these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 octagon shapes. Anyway, so you have runestones and doll and pomegranate. It's super fun, but you still have keywords. But what's even more fun is that in this little guidebook, and I'm sorry to like point this out because I know you can't really get this very easily, but there's mechanics. So for example, the second paragraph always talks about some way that it interplays with other cards or whatnot. So here, for example, is the purse. In a reading, the purse adds value to whatever card it is drawn close to or to clarify. There's something here of great worth and you could use it to get you what you want. Or let's go to letter because letter's right here. So letter, pay attention to the card that is drawn right after the letter appears. This could be news you have been expecting, or even more surprisingly, news you weren't expecting at all. Or like, oh, there's purse, that's funny. Or broom says, new starts, cleansing and resources. And it says, in relation to other cards, the broom can act as a cleansing force, sweeping away complications. It may also be suggesting that support is needed. Pay attention to the cards closest to it. Could you offer a helping hand? So that's with the broom. So like, it's all like that. So if you're putting this in a layer of multiple cards, or you're putting it between tarot cards or around tarot cards, you get this really cool other layer of mechanics. So when you use it as a clarifier or you park it next to other cards, you get that added layer, which is so fun. So deck of emblems is really, really cool. Love the mechanics of it. I just think it's fabulous. So it's a good little deck. So I keep those together so that I remember what they are mostly. Okay, next we have one. This is another one where I think if I could think of the perfect thing to pair it with, I would be laughing, but I haven't yet thought of the perfect thing to pair it with. But this is the Sacred Wood Oracle. It's beautiful. I got it because I love this artist and her work mostly, but it is a really, really gorgeous deck. I really need to think of something to pair it with. Actually, it would work really well, I think, next to like some fairy tale decks. Ooh, you know what? I wonder if this would work well next to, I don't know. I feel like it would go good next to, I feel like this would go good next to story decks. It feels a little bit fairy tale-ish, if I'm being honest, which means it probably should go with my story decks and not my fantasy decks. But I just didn't know where to put it because I don't really have a home for it yet. But it's so pretty. Like, look at the backs. It's gorgeous. It's got this like beautiful little hardcover book that came in the box with it. Like, it's so pretty. I love it. It's all oil painted and it's curated art. The artist curated their own art and put it together like this. And it's just, it's fabulous. But I need to find it a companion that can like kind of hold its own with it. But I don't know what that would be. I really don't. I'm trying to think of any of the decks I've already looked at, and I don't know what would pair well with them. I mean, possibly the Good Fortune, maybe? Let's just see. Because it's such a fantasy deck. I feel like it kind of needs... Let me just put it in the center. Oh, Woodland Wardens. That's the artist. Jessica Rue. There we go. I finally got there. Because Woodland Wardens doesn't fully feel right next to these necessarily. But this kind of does. I don't know. What do we think? This might be a little too fantasy and this might be a little too grounded though. I'm not sure that works. It's so beautiful. I got it because it was beautiful. I don't know. So I'm a little bit torn, but it is not going on the chopping block or anything. I just don't know what to do with it yet. So, but I'm going to keep it in its bag for now, I guess, and hang it up, and we'll see where I end up landing with it. Okay. Next up is another one that I just don't know. This was a repurchase. This is the Tarot of a Hidden Realm. When it comes to Julia Jeffrey's artwork, this is my favorite of her decks. It's more readable, I find, than the tarot of, what's it called? The Witch Sister Tarot. It's more readable than the Witch Sister Tarot. Actually, I'm looking at this now. Hold on. And I'm wondering, would this go well with this? Hold on. Let me just, it might not. Let's just see. It might wash this out a little too much, but let's see. Well, now wait a minute. There's something about this that might be working for me. The crab, protect yourself between the 5 of Wands and the 3 of Pentacles. Let me think about this. The frog, stay balanced between Queen of Pentacles and 10 of Wands. And calm after the storm between the Moon and the Ace of Cups. This might be growing on me, and I wasn't sure where I was going to land with Tarot of a Hidden Realm. What do we think? Let me know in the comments. What do you think? Do you think they work? I think they might work. I'm going to try pairing these actually and see if that changes anything. Tarot of the Hidden Realms, this is another Barbara Moore guidebook, but with Barbara Moore's guidebook and Julia Jeffrey's art, it's actually a really great one, but I don't reach for it a ton. It does have a certain vibe to it though that is really pretty great. So I think I will keep this for now. And I'm going to try pairing it with this and just see if that has me reaching for them as a combo more than I otherwise would have. Let's just see. I'll try pairing them and see if that gets me anywhere different. We shall see. Okay, next up is the Tarot of the She. Wild Fae energy. That is what this is. This copy is trimmed and edged and corner rounded. I took the sides off and then corner rounded. It's a great trim. I'm really proud of it. It's even. The deck shuffles really nicely, which means I did it right. Sometimes if you hand trim, if you're not very precise, your shuffle can get messed up, but I did not mess it up and that makes me really happy. I really enjoy this quite a lot. This has got that wild fae energy that I genuinely love to work with. It pairs really well with Brian Froud's Fairies Oracle, but it also works really beautifully on its own. This is one I want to do in an upcoming deck study with my members. I think it'd be a really fun one to get to know as a group, but it's got a lot of wildness, a lot of otherworldliness, and I really enjoy that about that. It kind of takes you into, I think, an unseen realm, the unseen realm. The best way I know how to express it. Very otherworldly, very cool. Tarot of the She. Not in any danger of leaving my collection. I really enjoy it. Okay, let's talk about this one. So this is technically two decks that I combined into one. I have a video about that on my channel, but this is the Seeker Oracle and the Messenger Oracle, both by Raven Phelan and combined. I had been pairing these with the Tarot of Oneness by Robin Voicey, but Robin Voicey's Tarot of Oneness now has an Oracle of Oneness, so I need to find a new pairing home for this because it's gorgeous. I love it. Again, this is two decks combined, so there's a really good number of cards. The backings match perfectly, the cardstock and the size match perfectly, so the shuffle is beautiful and precise and wonderful. I love the combination of cards in here. Oh, this is so great. Undeserving Villains, Here and Now. I love the themes, but yeah, I show the whole process of combining those two decks in that video. The Messenger Oracle was originally a different format with green borders and like pentacle backs and was revamped when shortly after the Secret Oracle came out or around the same time, but now they match perfectly so you can mix and match them to your heart's desire. So I created a custom deck out of both. And I did that whole thing on camera, so if I think of it, I'll link that video. But otherwise, you can just search up Messenger Oracle or Secret Oracle on my YouTube channel and you should find it. But this is really pretty. And now I need something equally vibrant and fantasy to pair it with. But this is such a great deck, and it's so colorful. I must have something similarly colorful that this would pair really well with. Okay, well, for now, it's going to stay. And then we'll see if I get any brilliant ideas for things to pair it with in the future. Oh, you know this is run long because my candle just went out. My candle died. That's okay. We're gonna... Thank you for your service, sweet candle. We're gonna move you. And the other one's probably not far behind because I lit them around the same time. This is the Tarot of a Moon Garden. I just was working with this actually in June and had just a great time. It does make me a little curious. Just a little curious. I'm probably just overthinking it, but I want to see if this Messenger Seeker could potentially play well with this. Okay, I'm not hating it, actually. I'm not hating it. Maybe I will just experiment with pairing these two for a bit. The art style isn't exactly a match, but the tones do seem to work well together. I feel like I might try this. I feel like it's kind of cohesive. There's a little bit of darkness. There's a little bit of magic in both. But anyway, back to this one, because that's what I was here to talk about at this point in the video. The Tarot of a Moon Garden is really fun. It's a mass market pip deck. Kind of pips, but kind of not. Like, it's kind of illustrated. It's got a really nice linen cardstock, purple gilding, and it's really fun to work with. It's super fun to work with. So yeah, that one's also safe. So yeah, I'm going to try pairing these and just see what I think of them together and see if that changes anything about my experience of them. Okay, we have one more standalone and then a bit of a family. So this is the Anak Tarot. I think I might be ready to actually just put this into like essentially storage. It is a really fabulous deck. This mass market version is now out of print, but you can get the indie version, I believe, still from the creator on her website. So I'll try to remember to link the indie version link down below for you. But if not, just look up Anak Tarot, and if you find yourself on the Anak website, you're in the right place. So there's also a Lenormand that goes with this. This is a brilliant deck, and I love the little guidebook, but I haven't wanted to work with it or reach for it for a very long time. It just, there's a thing about it. It's kind of like fantasy, but also very grounded, but it's super smart. I think it's a really fun one to use if you're getting to know the tarot. It's got a lot of really good visceral, like sort of visual explanations of the cards. Like this is definitely a card that informed how I see the King of Swords. I love seeing the King of Swords playing chess. It's like still one of my favorite things ever. The court cards really come alive in this deck in a big bad way, and I love it. Some of the faces are a little bit off from what I think I expect to see, but it's all very cohesive within the world, and it really just works. It's a very people feeling deck, but it does such a good job of really just illustrating the concept of each card. And for that, I will always really appreciate it, but I don't think it's one, well, I don't know. It's so much fun to read with. Maybe I'll keep it available. By keep it available, I just mean whether I'm putting it on my storage shelf or I'm going to keep it in my like rotation. I think I'll keep it in my rotation for now, actually. Looking at it again just makes me want to read with it, which is a good sign. So yeah. Either way, it's not at risk of going away. That is the Anak. And the next one is like I said, a family of decks. So we have the Everyday Witch family of decks. Man, these are so fun. I've read so much with the Everyday Witch Tarot. My copy's quite well worn. It's got blue edges that I put on there myself. Very, very fun deck. I put this right up there, I think, with Lightseer's Tarot for being just really easy to read out of the box. Great for beginners. I do really like Deborah Blake's writing in the guidebook for this deck. And I, of course, love Elizabeth Alba's artwork. So let's take a look. So we have, here's the thing. I love the tarot. I'm not sure I need both of these Oracle decks. Let's have a look at them, though, and see maybe if one of them works better for me than the other. So we have the Everyday Witch Oracle. And this, let's just take a look at the titles. If you haven't seen the Everyday Witch Tarot, by the way, this is the vibe. We get these adorable stockinged witches, but there's also a little bit of like modernness, modernity. I don't know what's the right word for that. I love this Eight of Wands. Oh, we have an upside down card. The Devil, Queen of Pentacles. Okay, anyway, that's the vibe, right? Super great. Then the Oracle. So we have listening to wisdom, meditation for clarity, gratitude and thanks. I love these. Air magic, learn from life. Prayers and wishes, affirmation for acceptance, speak your mind, accept love. So these feel like they're very on the nose, like they tell you what they mean, which is awesome. Inspiration and courage, follow your dreams, affirmation for healing the heart, healing waters, make a move, tears of joy and sadness. Ugh. Meditation to dig deep. So yeah, these are very like plant the seeds. I feel like I know what these are telling me, so that's something. And then the Familiars Oracle is an animal-based deck, but I kept it with the fantasy section because these definitely all belong together. Here's the backs of those. Here's the backs of these. Oops. And then here's the backs of those. So you can kind of see them all together. So the Familiars deck, yeah, it's kind of organized into like a suit, and it just names the Familiars. It's really beautiful. It really is. And it absolutely fits in this world. But I don't think I need this. This is really just an animal deck for me at the end of the day. Oh, the unicorn card's so pretty. And there's a dragon and a phoenix too. Or a sphinx, a phoenix, a unicorn, yeah, and a dragon. Love that. But I think the Familiars deck I got just for the nostalgia of this combo, of this particular deck family, but I don't think I need that. I think the Everyday Witch Oracle is actually the perfect pair for this deck. It just works really well. It feels like it stays in the world with it, and it's just pretty great. So I will keep these together, and that is this one and this one. So I might as well put the book on top. I typically will keep the book on top of the cards unless I'm using the book to separate out like extra cards or something. So let me just, is this really the, I really want a bag like this so that they're in the same bag because they definitely are a perfect pair. But this one is going to go on the chopping block. And then we have one final deck to talk about, and it is new to my collection. It is the Enchanted Earth Oracle, and it's really beautiful. This is by Jessica LaHood, illustrated by Amanda Clark. and it's just so pretty. I think I know what deck I want to pair this with, but we'll see. So this is Buried Within. I'm going to keep this in order because I haven't done a full walkthrough yet, and I don't know if I will be. But it is so completely beautiful. I love this. I love the choices made here. I love the format. I love that we've got the title down here in the corner with the keywords underneath. I don't know why I turned it that way, but yeah. Love the ethereal artwork. Easy to find numbers, so you can look it up in the guidebook. Real super simple. Just beautiful. Just beautiful. So real excited about that. I think the deck that I want to try to pair this with, maybe, we'll see, is the Forest of Enchantment Tarot. But I don't know. I don't know. So let's see. Let me put this in the middle and then put these cards to either side and just see what I think. Okay. Actually, I don't know. And this deck isn't in today's, it's in the story. It goes in the story one. But I had such a love affair with Forest of Enchantment when it first came out. I think it's beautiful. I don't think these actually make a perfect pair to me, which shoot, because I was kind of hoping. But I do wonder if this deck, I'm going to check something really quick. I'm just wondering what it would look like next to the Arthurian Tarot. I don't know why. I'm just kind of like, I'm just curious. But no, that doesn't quite feel right either. Well, shoot. I'm back in a bind again. Okay, let's go back to thinking about what I've already talked about in this category. Okay, let's see. What do I have in my pile that doesn't have a pairing yet? Tarot of the She, but it kind of does, kind of has a pairing. And that one has a pairing. Anna K doesn't need a pairing. We could go back to this one again, Cosmic, or why do I keep wanting to call it Cosmic? Crystal Visions. I've got an odd idea, but I'm going to try it. So let me put this away. Okay, I've got a deck here that I actually paired, and now I don't think it's going to go, but we're going to pull it out and just see. I might edit this part out. We'll see. No, that's not going to go. Why did I think that was going to go? It's not going to go. Wait, I think I have an idea. I think I might have something interesting. So this will show up in a different collection video too. So I may or may not remember to link it. We'll see. This is the Dream Vision Tarot. And actually, what do I think about this? I don't like that at all, actually. Okay, so we'll take that out of the video. I don't need the Dream Vision comparison in there. Okay, I made a mistake because I forgot that one of the reasons I bought this deck is because Krista showed me how beautifully it paired with my own deck. So it might be going into a deck family with Unicorn's Journey Tarot and Unicorn's Journey Oracle. So we're just going to experiment with that real quick. That was why I originally was so excited about it. So we're going to go like that on one side and like that. This is my, whatever, this is my in order copy. So we're just going to keep it in order because why not? Everything's in order. That's fine. So let's just pull some chunks of cards. Ooh, I kind of like these like this, like just like this, with Unicorn's Journey Tarot on one side, Unicorn's Journey Oracle on the other side, and then the Enchanted Earth as like an anchor point. Ooh, okay. Okay. I don't know. It still doesn't feel quite like the right fit yet. Dang it. And I wonder if part of that is just because I can't see it in my universe because of like Unicorn's Journey Oracle being so close to the surface for me right now. That could be why, but I don't know what to do here. Wait a minute. I might actually have, hold on. I might have the perfect pair. Wait. Because I've never tried to pair this with anything really. But if we have the Unicorn's Journey, not the Unicorn's Journey, the last Unicorn Tarot, how would these behave together? Okay, wait a minute. Okay. Oh my God. Oh, I love these. I love these together. What? Oh, these are perfect. Okay, that makes me happy. Okay, so the problem I have now is that unicorns, or the last Unicorn Tarot, I tend to keep in this like box. I left some cards in the bottom. Oopsies. Tend to keep them in this box, which means I would need to keep, so that I remember to keep these paired, I would need to keep this also in its box, like close at hand. So I think that's what I'm going to do, is these are going to live like this on my shelf. That's how we're going to roll with it. I can deal with that. Okay. Well, that was fruitful. So On the chopping block, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 decks. Well, this is technically 2 decks. That's 5 decks on the chopping block. 2 that are storage only. So these are going onto my little storage shelf. I'm not going to worry about trying to like hang these on my walls or put them in my regular rotation. So 2 storage and 5 chopping block. Not bad for a day's work, I guess you could say. And Mother Candle finally gave up the ghost. So that's perfect timing. All right, you all, thank you so much for hanging out. This was all of my fantasy decks. I realized this was a long one, so thanks for hanging with me. And as always, an extra big thank you goes out to my Unicorn Fam channel members. Thank you so much for your support of the channel. It means everything. And I guess that's it. Thank you all so much. Do be sure and like, subscribe if you enjoyed this. Subscription helps you see my videos in your subscriptions feed, which is convenient, and helps me to know like how things are doing and how my content is resonating. So I appreciate that. And I guess that's it. So until our next installment in the collection series or my next video, thank you so much. And may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye.